gets more exciting every week, doesn't it? Good afternoon, investigators. It's Casey Fine and Mike Evans with Australia's #1 Friday afternoon live stream, because we are the only #1 Friday afternoon live stream. We are the people that love to take statements and interview people, and we enjoy our work as licensed private investigators, government investigators and corporate investigators. G'day, Shell. Good to see you. Hi, Jamie. Great to see you. People, we're action-packed today, but I really am going to try and keep it to a tight 30 minutes. So we're going to get right into it. Casey, you've been very busy. What have you been up to?
I have. I launched a new business this week, so just a soft launch so far.
Okay, so you're going to tell us all about that in a few minutes' time?
I sure will.
All right. Today, people, I'm going to tell you why the Newcastle Song in 1974 is so important to you.
The bloke on the footpath said, "Come on, get out here and have a go." Norm said, "No, get in here and have a go." The bloke on the footpath said, "What's wrong with out here?" Norm said, "What's wrong with in here?" And all of a sudden there was a break in the traffic. As any young Newcastle lad knows, when you're getting monstered by a 9-foot-tall Hell's Angel and there's a break in the traffic, don't you ever let a chance go by, oh Lord, don't you ever.
Okay, I'm going to tell you why that is so important to you as a government investigator, a licensed private, hi Renee, licensed private investigator or a corporate investigator. It's the Newcastle Song. It's the most politically incorrect song in Australian history today, at 46 years old, and they still play it. And you'll have to ask your grandfather about what cruising down Hunter Street in Newcastle was, 8 deep in the front seat, and he'll tell you all about that. So that's very important to what's happening in our program today. Let's have a look at some of the things that have hit the news this week, so we can sort of get our head around what's been going on. Big news in collections is Collection House went bust yesterday. So that's a major top 3 collection agency in Australia have gone broke. So they've got collection agents chasing them for money. So like all collection agencies, these people buy debts and then buy them for 1 cent and then recover them for $1,000. So that's what they do. But that's gone down the gurgler this week. Origin Energy have got themselves into a lot of trouble for failing to look after their distressed customers. Now, if you're a workers' compensation investigator, government investigator, or corporate investigator, you know how to handle vulnerable clients and vulnerable witnesses and vulnerable claimants. And Origin Energy didn't bother with anything like that. They just use artificial intelligence to hound them to death for their bills, and then they'd agree on a repayment system. Then Origin Energy's artificial intelligence would change the rules and hound people who were vulnerable again. And they got a very substantial fine of $17 million for doing that. So if your general insurance client says, we want you to look after vulnerable people, take that very seriously. And I have never known in all my time as a licensed private investigator an investigator that didn't use empathy when dealing with vulnerable people. I know a lot of things that have gone wrong, but that's not one of them. Down in Tasmania, Angela Armstrong, who's a lawyer who lives at Low Head, she hired a private eye in Western Australia to try and find Tristan Hubbard, who ripped her off for $50,000. So you can Google that one and have a read of it and see what they found out and what happened. So that's just 3 of the things that happened in investigations this week. One of the things you're not allowed to do as a police officer, as a corporate investigator, government investigator, or a private investigator, is go on a fishing expedition. What does that mean? That means you have no evidence, you have no proof, you're being conclusionary, and you're going after information that fits your hypothesis. Blah, 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 blah. Right? So that's what you're doing on a fishing expedition. You are asking around to find out, to see if you can pin something on someone. Keep it in mind, it's an industry term for not having any evidence and trying to get the evidence to meet your theory, which you can't do that as an investigator. You've got to keep an open mind because the fishing expedition is just about tunnel vision. When you go and search for information, you contact people in relation to something that's going on, particularly if it's a legal matter. You've got to tell them that you're contacting them on a without prejudice basis. Now, what happened to me this week was some of the best fun I've had in a long time. So here is part one of what happened to me this week in relation to a person going on a fishing expedition and contacting me. On Wednesday of this week, it was around about 4:45 in the afternoon, and I was at work polishing my halo when the phone rang. I answered the phone, and the guy on the other end said, "I am such and such, and I am a lawyer." And he was really aggressive, and he didn't say he was calling me on a without prejudice basis. When he asked me a question, I would answer him with another question, but I wouldn't answer his question. This was very frustrating for him as he elevated his attack and threatened me with a subpoena and the police. Now, this was really good fun because I love going to court. So if he gives me a subpoena, mate, I'm in there like swimwear and we're off to court. So what's happened is the Australian Security Academy has a name that's common. There's also the Australian Training Academy, the Australian Academy of Security and Training, the Australian Cybersecurity Academy, and people get these things confused. I often get lawsuits from lawyers where a security guard was travelling to training and had a car accident and was injured, and they assume that the training was with me, the Australian Security Academy, and they send me out a letter of demand to pay for that person's injuries. It's really weird because they don't do their research, they're arrogant, they're conclusionary, and they just jump in. And they go on a fishing expedition and just chuck whatever they can out there to appear to be doing their work. So this really got me. So he's threatening me with the police and subpoenas, and then he gives me the Victorian underworld gangster, "Look, I'm going to make this really simple." That's what gangster debt collectors in Victoria say when they ask you for money. So they say, "Look, I'm going to make this really simple. If you don't pay your debt, I'm going to come around and burn down your house." And it really surprised me that a lawyer would talk like that if he was a lawyer. Now, I didn't know if he was a lawyer. I think he was just some person on too much medication and he's mixed it with alcohol and has got some kind of, I don't know, small man syndrome. Regardless of that, he was very, very aggressive. You must prepare yourself and practice for this type of telephone attack so you do not give away any confidential information. These people are on a fishing expedition and they're threatening me with police and court. Look, go ahead. You know, that's my world. That's what I do. So I love that sort of stuff. And he's using the gangster terminology. I talk to the gangsters. I know how they talk, right? So it doesn't affect me on the telephone. It's not happening at my front door at 2 o'clock in the morning. And it's going to happen to you as an investigator. They are going to go on a fishing expedition. Now, when I asked this guy his name, and I wrote it down in my notebook, because I'm writing the notes as I go, I lost it. I absolutely lost it. It's my pure old primary school sense of humour. This guy must have had a hell of a time at high school. So by this stage, he's yelling at me, and I'm writing down the conversation on my notes as he's yelling. And I asked him for his name again, and with all names, when you write them down, you put a capital letter for the first name and a capital letter for the surname. And when you looked at those two capital letters, they were a sexually transmitted disease, which that just made me start laughing. So he's there seriously threatening me with the police and threatening me with a subpoena and threatening this and to burn my house down, whatever. I'm looking at this sexually transmitted disease initials, God, high school must have been hell for him. But anyway, that's what I'm trying to do. So I'm writing down my notes, the times, all that sort of thing, and I've got that. Now, I don't know who he was. But if anyone ever rings you, you don't know who they are. If they say they're the police, they could be the man on the moon. You don't reply to any questioning of someone that comes on to you over the phone and is aggressive. If the police have business with you, they will put on their uniform and their hat and they will drive around to your house. They will knock on your door so all the neighbours can see and come and talk to you. They don't ring you up. Even with budget restraints, they don't do that. So what do you do in this situation? Okay, so the Newcastle Song is my theme for today. It says, don't you ever let a chance go by. Here is a person trying to pin you down with information by power tripping all over you by saying, oh, I'm a lawyer, oh, I'm a police officer, oh, I'm from the tax department, whatever, whatever. You do not know who they are. You do not stupidly go along with them, cave in and give them the information they want. They could be from the CIA or from the Iranian secret police for all you know. And you can't be charged for not cooperating with a lawyer on a fishing expedition or a police officer who says they're a police officer or purporting to be a police officer. None of that can happen. You can have a lot of fun with this sort of thing. And I did. Every time he asked me a question, I'd ask him a question, wouldn't answer his question, and he got angrier and angrier. He was going to explode. He's got these gangster connections. He's got these police connections. And the Queensland Commissioner of Police on Monday is getting a really interesting letter about access to the police database. So here we go. What do you do? What do you say? The 1974 Australian classic, The Newcastle Song, is about, I don't know, people like your grandfather used to cruise Hunter Street in Newcastle, 8 abreast in the front seat of an HJ Holden, and try to chat up ladies walking down Hunter Street. And in this song, one of them, Norm, has tried to crack on to a lady who's standing outside the Parthenon Milk Bar when her 9-foot-tall bikey boyfriend comes out and sees Norm trying to chat her up. Now they exchange words. Do you want to go, mate? Do you want to go? Do you know who you're talking to? Do you know who you're talking to? And everything that's said is repeated by the other one. Now, this is what I said to you earlier. When they ask you a question, don't answer the question, ask them a question. Never let a chance go by to do that if someone says they're a police officer on the phone or a lawyer on the phone or a thermonuclearist on the phone or an expert on freshwater sea sponges on the phone. Don't believe them. Okay? So if they're aggressively attacking you, you give it back. Now, as this song escalates, the bikie says, you come out here and we'll have a go. And Norm says, no, you come in here and we'll have a go. There's 8 people sitting in the front seat. He can't go in there, of course. You never pick a fight on someone else's territory and someone else's ground. You decide the location. It's on the telephone. It's here today. That's it. Okay? So they've made a big mistake by aggressively attacking you. You're not giving anything away. You can hang up at any time and you can not participate and not engage in the conversation where they're trying to get information about you and your work. Don't participate. Never let a chance go by to not tell them anything. You can't be charged for not speaking to a police officer on the telephone when you don't know it's a police officer. And you don't know if the person's a lawyer. You're not a walking encyclopedia with all the lists of lawyers in your head. So never let a chance go by to practice not giving away information to a person who claims to be or purports to be somebody on the telephone. I'm really enjoying that halo. Anyway, When it happens to you, government investigators, private investigators and corporate investigators, there's no warning. They don't ring up and make an appointment and say, look, I'm going to ambush telephone call you next Thursday afternoon at 4:30. They're playing full contact rugby and they expect you to be playing handball or ping pong and fall apart and answer their questions on their fishing expedition. And they never said, I'm contacting you on a without prejudice basis. So they're doing everything wrong. Don't sucker for it. Police can't do it and don't do it. Private investigators can't do it and do not do it. Government investigators don't do it. RSPCA investigators don't do it. No investigator does it. So expect it. It's going to happen once every 5 years in your occupation if you do your job properly. So get used to it. Prepare for it. When it happens, think to yourself, don't ever let a chance go by. This is on the telephone. I'm under no physical threat whatsoever. This person has just threatened to burn down my house, gangster style, right? It can't happen. It won't happen, okay? You do not answer their questions. They're playing full contact rugby. They expect you to play handball or ping pong. No, okay? So, yeah, don't answer their questions and you can have a lot of fun with it. Great song, play it tonight. You'll really enjoy it. Totally politically incorrect. 48 years old, I think, that song. Ask your grandfather about it. They'll tell you all about it. It's a couple of jobs this week before Casey tells us all about her new endeavour. There's been some beauties this week. LKA Group are after a loss adjuster down in Melbourne. They're paying it $3,000 a week. I can help you with a loss adjuster qualification, people, if you need it. Won't cost you that much. There's a compliance director for the Fair Work Ombudsman in Brisbane, Perth, Adelaide, Melbourne, Hobart. Just about everywhere you can name, that job is available everywhere around Australia if you've got a certificate for in government investigation. The Fair Work Ombudsman are looking for a compliance director down in Launceston in Tassie. That'd be a great opportunity down there. Lovely lifestyle. And we have Department of Customer Service offering $237,000 for a Director of Investigations and Emergency Response. You'll need an advanced diploma for that one. Those of you that are into your numbers, if you contact Adeline Shelley in relation to this job opportunity with her workplace, they'll be really happy to tell you about this vacancy down in Melbourne. Now, all of these jobs, people, every single one of them are on our Australian Security Academy Facebook page, Australian Private Investigator, Corporate Investigator and Government Investigator. You can look them up and most of them will have links. They come from SEEK or government department websites. And if I went too fast for you and you missed something in those jobs, you can watch the replay over here on our YouTube channel tomorrow. So you can stop and write things down or go back and have a look at things or see what you say to people purporting to be lawyers and acting like gangsters. So that's on our YouTube channel. So there's some great jobs available this week. It's the end of the financial year. I did not have much time to get any jobs up there at all, but that's just an example. Quantum Corp, they're looking for investigators all around Australia. Great team at Quantum Corp, lovely people. LS Investigations are looking for factual investigators in Sydney. AB Investigations are looking for factual investigators in Sydney as well. As I told you last week, Derwent Mercantile have advertised position vacant down there. Last week I told you that whoever gets that position will be studying with the Australian Security Academy. And that prediction came true this week. There's a person in front of the person for this vacancy who's just started studying from Derwent Mercantile at the Australian Security Academy. They all do. I'm not giving anything away. That's just natural. That's what they're going to do. Another vacancy is Head of Investigations and Response at BHP. So they're just examples of some very high-level ones. But don't forget, Quantum Corp will take you on as a trainee and train you up. And one of the really big ones this week is Clarity Investigations. I don't know what I've done with Clarity Investigations picture, but Clarity Investigations, Google them, people, down in Victoria, Clarity will take you on, if you're a newly licensed investigator, and teach you what they do. They're based in Kew. They've been around for several years. They are a very highly respected investigation agency, and Stephanie and Vince and the team want newly licensed investigators from the Australian Security Academy to contact them about getting factual investigation work. They've got too much work and not enough investigators. And so is every other investigation agency practically around Australia. Now, the thing you must understand about applying for investigation jobs is they don't always advertise them. But anywhere there's accidents, where you live, and there's accidents, right? If you live somewhere where there is accident, motor vehicle, general insurance, workers' compensation, public liability, that sort of thing, they've got work for you as an investigator. So you apply to everybody. You don't wait for a vacancy to come up like you would in carpet laying or pet shop assistant, right? You don't wait for that to come up. You apply vigorously and frequently. They respect consistency, right? If you don't be embarrassed about applying 3 times for work with an investigation agency 3 weeks in a row. Don't be embarrassed about that. They are just busy people and they respect that you're consistent and they will contact you. Clarity Investigations, couldn't recommend them high enough. Down in Victoria, they're looking for people, licensed investigators, and they want you to get in touch with them. So just Google Clarity, Clarity, and you'll find them. They'll be the first one to come up. Casey.
Yes.
Waiting patiently. You're on.
Okay, well, the first thing I wanted to talk about is, as you know, my main job as a private investigator is desktop investigations and open source intelligence. So my thing is data and trying to get my hands on it, and all different kinds of data, and also paying for paid databases to get access to data. So this week I signed up for Equifax's eTrace, which I thought might be pretty handy because it's slightly cheaper per search. And just the more pivot points I can have, the easier it makes my job. And if I can have a number of different data sets lined up where I can find those pivot points, it saves me so much time, because as a desktop investigator, as an open source intelligence operative, you don't want to be relying on your tools, but it helps to save you so much time when they do work for you. So I paid for the casual access plan because it's about $1.60 per search. And I've gone in and I've just signed up and applied, but without any, I didn't ask for an example, just for someone to show me what to do. I did some Googling to try and find some information on it. I couldn't. So I put up the $400, and I can honestly say that unfortunately with eTrace, I did not find it worth it at this point in time. It did not create any extra pivot points for me. I use Detective Desk quite a lot, and I really enjoy that as my paid database subscription, my main big one. And it just didn't find things that Equifax did. And when you are doing searches on Equifax, it says it's $1.60 per search, and it is literally $1.60 per search. So you might search it once and then go away and then come back and search it again. It'll cost you another $1.60. So while it's cheap, it's still not like your day pass where you can do 100 searches and that's your day pass. That's all right. It still costs you the same amount of money. It's literally $1.60 per search. So it seems cheap. It's not as cheap as it makes it out to be. but yeah, the data I just did not find worth it. I'm sure that there are people out there that might find eTrace handy, but it just wasn't finding the information that Detective Desk did for me. So I thought I would save you the $400 that I outlaid for this and let you know that they've got a little ways to go. And if it changes at any time, I'm not one to write anyone off for this kind of stuff, especially Equifax. They're a massive company. They have a hell of a lot of products, and that might be one that's kind of in the pipeline that might get better and better. But I'll let you know when that happens. So the next thing I'm going to move on to is, I'm actually a little bit nervous about this one. This is my baby that I've had in the pipeline for a little while now. I've just softly launched it this week because it's a brand new website and I want to make sure it doesn't go crashing on anyone or doing the wrong thing. So you're the first to hear about it in my professional network. So I hope you like the website and the concept. So what it is called Quicklook. And as you all know, I'm really active on LinkedIn. I do this show with Mike, and I get requests probably not necessarily every week, but easily every fortnight from heartbroken people that have been scammed or abused or had some kind of even coercive control done over them. And they need help to find solutions because they're not getting the help and the solutions from where they need. And some of these stories that I hear are just heartbreaking. And I was just wondering why there wasn't something in place to kind of flag the scammers and flag continuous abusers. Unfortunately, there's a lot out there that go around abusing men or women, and they go from one to the other, and other people that scam people. And what the concept of Quicklook is you can have a quick look to if you're looking at dating someone or you are dating someone, and you can just see if they have been flagged within our database, because part of Quicklook is the reporting as well. So I encourage people to report any scams or abuse or violence or harassment, anything. I ask people to report it. So I have my own database there that I can have a look into, because you can't call up the police and say, hey, does this person have any complaints against them? They will laugh at you. So having somewhere else where people can report and save other people from going through the same thing is just a really handy feature. So I have a look at my database, and I also, of course, use my open source intelligence skills to have a look to make sure that the person is real. Are they real? Have they stolen someone's identity? Maybe they're fake. Maybe it's a sock puppet account, like my many sock puppet accounts. So I'm really hoping to contribute to a safer place for everybody in Australia, the dating communities, so that there are less scams, because as you can see the numbers here, it's $56 million last year that was lost through dating and romance scams. 19% of women have reported threats of physical harm when dating. Men are twice as likely to be targeted in financial scams, and there are tens of thousands of romance and dating scams and violence, abuse, and harassment that go unreported every single year. This is a massive issue, and no one else is doing anything to prevent it. So I thought I would start up this little project and hopefully save some people heartache, their assets being taken, their hard-earned money being stolen, and yeah, just save some people some time that don't want to muck around with this stuff anymore. They just want to have a quick look and move on with it if they decide to. So that is my business.
How good is that? Brilliant work, Casey.
Thank you.
So this week's been the launch, the low-profile launch up until 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody jump on Quicklook, see if they're on there.
Thank you, Renee, as well. I'm sorry.
Okay, just a couple of quick things, people. I don't know what I've done wrong here. Hang on, here we go. I'm stuffing it up again. Here it is. Clarity Workplace Investigations down in Melbourne are seeking experienced or newly licensed investigators looking for work with that investigation firm. So get in touch with Clarity Investigations to apply for work there. And you can click on this link that you can see there. It is on our Australian Security Academy Facebook jobs page. So you go to this, Australian Private Investigator, Corporate and Government Investigation Jobs. You have to ask to join it, and you'll see that job and the contacts for Clarity Investigations down in Melbourne. If you're newly licensed, they want to talk to you. If you're experienced, they want to talk to you as well. So if you missed all that, you can watch the replay of this tomorrow on YouTube. Big announcement last week, people, is our industry association AirLap have got their 10th training awards coming out. Now, I did have a video for that. Sorry, 13th training awards. Whoa, that goes fast.
Yeah.
So that's a little video promoting our AirLap 13th Training Awards, and it said 10th at the end. I know that, but I was tired and was up late for making that video. But people, these are taken seriously by the industry. If you're a member of AirLap and you'd like to nominate an employer or an individual who has helped you to towards success and made your life easier as an investigator by assisting your professional development with some in-house training or some assistance, some support, that sort of thing, let me know. Nominate. They could win a trophy. You got a picture of that trophy anywhere, Casey, or is it gone
I
now?
do.
This is a trophy that the organisation might win. Now, last time we did this, we had crystal trophies, and everybody that received it broke it that same day. So we've gone for safety this time around, and the trophy looks like that. So these are really respected awards. A lot of employers have it. If you're an Australian security graduate, then and you are a member of AirLap, you naturally are, right? Or you're studying at the moment and someone's helping you or assisting you with your professional development, nominate them for award. We've had Andrew Baldock nominated earlier this week, Alex Evans nominated earlier this week, Casey Pine was even nominated for her work with OSINT through this program. So individuals as well as organisations can win one of these awards, and we'll keep you posted on what's going on. But people, PM me, email me, tell us about who supported you and the award. Here's our Casey's meme of the week. I thought this was a beauty because all surveillance operatives, every single one of them listens to podcasts to alleviate the boredom. And this lady surveillance officer is in her car listening to how the serial killer's chopped up and frozen all the body parts preparing to eat them. And she's left a window down, and the person who's parked next to her at the lights is giving her a very strange look about what she's listening to. So that's Casey's meme of the week, which is rather sick, I thought.
That's true.
Make sure, people, just because a solicitor or a person who reckons they're a solicitor who rings you up is sleep deprived, affected by drugs, uses police as threats, talks like a gangster, is completely wrong, intends to be conclusionary, doesn't mean they're a competent lawyer. Never speak to anyone on the telephone and give them information. They are on a fishing expedition. If they're purporting to be a lawyer or a police officer from the tax office or whatever, there's protocols. Anyone wanting to contact you on an insurance matter in relation to information about your investigation must be cleared with your employer and must be on a without prejudice basis. Fishing expeditions are not allowed. So that's really important that you understand that. We had our AirLap meeting earlier today, and we're consulting with the Office of Fair Trading. We've identified the person at the Office of Fair Trading who we need to consult with. And I've asked our members of AirLap for help with that and some research. If they're interested in it, they don't have to, but we'll be putting a proposal to the Office of Fair Trading in relation to that. We had a bit of a catastrophe in our AirLap meeting earlier today.
And AirLap members.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in today. This is a really important meeting for our industry association. I've got a kitten playing with my pen next to it. I can't show you because I can't turn the camera. Like I said, it's important. Thanks, Ollie. This is a very important meeting for our AirLap members. We are today looking at our options for our... Hi, kitten lovers. G'day, Renee. Hope you're not allergic to cats. This is our preparation for our walk.
Oh, gosh. The tiny little white flop ball.
That was my wife's great-great-grandmother's antique teapot that just got splattered all over the floor during our AirLap meeting by our new kitten. So a bit of excitement today over there. People, we have completed our program for this week. Thank you very much, Casey, for the insights into your new endeavour. I'm sure everybody's going to have a look at Quicklook, and we're going to go out in the usual way.
작전 종료. 전원 복귀할 것.
That's how every investigation agency in Australia completes its week, asking all its units to return to base because their mission is complete. Casey and my mission is complete. We will see you next week for episode 155 of SpyCurious. And thanks for watching, people. See you then. That's very rude of me not let Casey say goodbye.
Thanks, everybody. See you next week.
Thanks, everyone. Goodbye.